Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you can hear me online. Just do a thumbs up or something like that so I know you can hear me. All right, thank you. Um, what we are going to start with is I'm just going to read the names quick. Just say present and just tell me which state or which city you're from, okay? So, again, you guys will be on mute. This is only for students. Parents, if you're a parent, just you can log out. So let's get started here. Um Alisa,
Here, from New Jersey.
okay. Sophie, Kirtana,
Here, from Nebraska.
Christian,
Here from Iowa.
Sophie.
Oh, here.
She's from South Dakota, Dakota Dunes here. She's the only one face to face we have here. Um, Aiden,
Here from Kansas.
Roshan.
From California.
Okay. All right. Daniel, Will,
Here from Minnesota.
Matthew,
Here from Iowa.
Kabir,
Here from California.
Vanessa, Shaurya, Joshua, Rohan,
Here from California.
Purv.
Here from California.
Okay, so the next question I have is there anybody who don't have this book today? Anyone? All good? All right. Excellent. Um, I'd sent you guys a text message or a group message regarding the format of the PSAT and SAT. It should be something like this. Go ahead and open this one, and I would like you guys to quickly take a look at it. And I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Manoj Patil. I'm the founder and CEO of New Horizon. We have been doing this for 15 years, more than 6,000 students. I'm also a president of a college nearby here. And we do PSATs only in fall semesters for the October PSAT. And all students should have their phones on silent or turned off once you review the PSAT and the SAT test format. As you can expect, SAT to be a little bit longer than PSAT, almost by an hour. SAT and ACT time-wise are almost the same. PSAT is a little bit shorter. All right, are we good? Okay. The first thing is um, when you go to school on Monday, you need to meet your counselors and make sure you register for the PSAT test. Not all students are automatically eligible for the PSAT test. If they say no, just let me know. We'll make sure you get registered because they cannot say no to you. But every school system has a different expectation of students taking PSAT. And PSAT is for students interested to make the National Merit Scholarship. Give me a second. Let me close it. So the national merit is for students who wants to get into to get this national merit scholarship. The grading is based on the state, not by the nation. So I have some students from California. Their cutoff scores are much, much higher than from Alabama, Mississippi, South Dakota. Different states have different requirements. For example, California last year was 4090, 1490 out of 1520, but South Dakota was 1440. So you have to know that this is based by the state, not by the nation. So as you're in a competitive state, you have to expect yourself to study a little bit more. But on Monday, you need to register yourself for the October PSAT and find out the exact date and time. According to my information of what I have, your test is on October 11th. That's what majority of the schools are conducting the PSAT on October 11th. It's a Wednesday at school, usually starting at 8:30. But you want to double check that. Do you have any questions related to the test format and the testing? All right. Second, you expect the results to come in the first week of December. Again, by state. Usually some schools the counselors get the scores a little bit earlier than you guys get. So keep talking to your counselors in the first week of December. And the score will be out of 1520. 760 for math and 760 for language and writing and English. So 760 times 2 is 1520. The highest we ever had was 1510. So that student currently is doing PhD in Stanford. We had a pretty good few years lately. In 2021, we had 14 students take this class, and out of the 14, 11 made the national merit. So you have to be at the 99th percentile to get to go to the national merit semifinalist. So during COVID and after COVID, they have removed all barriers afterwards. So if you become a semifinalist, you automatically become a finalist. So initially, you have to file an application to convert from a semifinalist to a finalist, which had a 93% chance of making it actually. But now it's 100%. You make the semifinalist, you become a finalist. Even though officially many schools do not use PSAT for admissions purposes, but I can tell you if you have a good score of a PSAT score, that's 97%, is called commendation, and higher, you definitely have a better chance than the student who doesn't have a PSAT score. Sounds good? So your target score is 99th percentile and above. The next level is 97th percentile. And anything about 90th percentile, you should be able to report in your resume or common app or anything like that, so that the colleges know that you've actually taken the PSAT and this is what you got. Fair enough? Any other questions?
I had a question about the timing thing that you sent. I saw there was reading and math. What's the thing in the middle?
Let me see. Oh, you mean for there is a, both SAT and PSAT has two sections in math, no calculator and a with calculator section.
Oh, I meant like the thing above math, like the W/L.
Oh, that's writing in English, language.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So reading, writing, and language combined together, you get one score up to 760, and math is 760. So, and of course for SAT, it's 800 instead of 760. So it's SAT is for 1600, and our highest, I believe, was a 1580 for SAT. So you know what you can achieve. This is a very competitive group. Have really good students in this group. So I expect you guys to be doing really well. Okay, this is a pretty high intense course. We don't have much time to screw around with, so we're gonna get started. Okay, everybody, go and open this book. And open page number 58. Open page 58. What you see is what you're going to see in the real test. This is exactly how it's going to look like. I would like you to read the directions, notes. Go ahead, please. I'm going to give you guys 5 minutes and the reference. You have to be so good that you should not be looking at any of these in the real test because you would have done it so many times. 5 minutes. As you read through this material, I want to share a few things. As the PSAT is much easier than ACT is, but the requirement to get to that 99th percentile is so high, so your margin of error is very, very low. So you may be a good student, but to make into national merit, you have to be a great student. A lot of effort goes into this. A lot of students miss by one question. So I just want you guys to know that it might seem very easy for PSAT, but to make the national merit, especially in competitive states like New Jersey and California, you absolutely have no choice. So perfection really matters for PSAT, so a lot of practice matters. So you'll have homework for PSAT class so that you know exactly what you're doing. Nothing should come as a surprise that particular date. Just do a thumbs up once you're done reading page 58. Open page 63, please. Both PSAT and SATs for without and with calculator sections have grid-ins. I've seen students make a lot of mistakes here. Some of the mistakes is they don't bubble in the answers. They do not round off correctly if you're using decimals, and basically a lot of simple errors. You want to be very watchful in this section. Please read page 63. And my advice to you guys is to follow as much fractions than decimals in this area. All right, go to page 77, please. And then flip a few more pages to this page. You all see this? Okay? And gently rip this page. So this page will be where you're going to be answering. This is something we have made a change this time, that starting from the first day itself, all practice questioning we will answer in this one. There's no circle allowed or anything like that. We want to get this practice because we had some students make mistakes in this one. Everybody should have this piece of paper handy. All right.
Do you just want the page, like the one on the right, ripped out, or do you want the one on the left as well?
The section 3 only right now.
Okay.
Section 3 and 4 on the back side. All right, let's, with that being said, we're gonna get started with question number 1. As I said, PSAT is completely different than ACTEs. So open page 59. I know you guys just had a long summer. You might be rusty. I understand all these things, but we just don't have time, okay? So we're gonna get the ball rolling. What we're gonna do is, and this is something I would like you to be very careful about. So, we have a clock here. I hope everybody can see it. Let's see if it's visible. Just want to make sure that people can see it. We'll be doing 5 questions at a time, approximately, give and take. Okay? Starting today itself, we usually do it second class, but we have made some changes to this class. Starting today itself, for every questions, you just write down the time. You'll see it here, and I would like you to keep track of time. In PSAT, except for language, no other section you should have problems with time. Maybe in the last 5 years, we had one student tell me that he ran out of time for the with calculator section. That's very rare because the margin of error is so low, you have to have immense time left. So for example, the no calculator section is 25 minutes, 17 questions. Average time to complete should be around 14-15 minutes, so that you have good 10 minutes to look back and review everything. Because that one question is the one thing we're going to be focusing that shifts between a semifinalist and a commendation. Sounds good? So you might see there's a significant difference between ACT and PSAT in terms of the expectations. Sorry?
Wait, could you repeat that?
Oh, so the expectations for the PSAT class compared to ACT class is significantly different, because in ACT, the margin of error still is a little bit higher, but not for PSAT, as you're compared with your peers in the same state. So most students taking PSAT, the margin of error exponentially decreases. That's why in California it's 1490, in Alabama it's like almost 3090. So there's a huge variation. So, all right, have your pencils ready? Your bubble-in sheet ready? From today onwards, everything you answer will be on that sheet of paper. Before we get started, I just wanted to remind next week, and I'm going to be putting this in the WhatsApp group all the time. Next week, Ryan will be teaching English and reading and language and stuff like that. He has a bunch of slides. He'll post it on the WhatsApp. I really want you guys to print that, have it handy. So math is taught a lot different than the English and the language and the reading are, okay? So Sophie, for example, everything will be online next week for his classes, okay? So, but I want to make sure that you guys participate with Ryan's class as much as you're going to do today, okay? We have planned out this class in detail, and every minute is planned out. So for example, we wanted to start at 3:30, it's 3:20, so we are at 10 minutes ahead. So go ahead and turn off your phone, silent mode. You're going to do the first 5 questions on page 59. And I know approximately when I'm going to stop this, okay? But if you're done in, let's say, 2 minutes, write down the time because I'm going to be keeping track of it. All right? First five questions.
Write down the time for total 5 questions or for each individual question?
Five. 5 to 10.
Okay.
All right. With that, your time starts now. Skip a question. Don't get hung up on one question. Use process of elimination as needed. Remember, you can't use your calculators. All right, I'm going to stop you guys at 4 minutes. Do a thumbs up or raise your hands if you're done with all 5 questions. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I see quite a bit of students have done it. Okay. Now, before we continue, there's some observations I would like you to make. Look at question number 4, for example. Look at the answer choices. It's -3, -2, 0, 3. So unlike ACT, in SAT and PSAT, the answer solutions or is it in the ascending order or in the descending order? Okay? Not that it's make a huge difference, but that's an observation. Second, PSAT and SAT tends to have a little bit more story problems than ACT. Story problems or word problems doesn't mean they are difficult, it just are time consuming. Third, the biggest mistake we have seen is students getting hung up on one question. That's your biggest enemy. You have to keep the ball rolling. And I can't stress this enough. Might as well for English, reading and writing, but especially for math and especially for without calculator section. You just don't have time to just drool around and say, hey, I'm gonna get this right. Next, when I go through the answers, if it's a wrong, it's a wrong. Don't say, oh, I almost got it. No, that's not good enough for PSAT. So you're going to be keeping track of time. You'll be keeping track of how many questions you got wrong. Sounds good? So with that, I'm going to read out the answers for the first 5. B, C, C, A, B. And I told you to answer in the bubble sheet, okay? Not on the piece of paper and where the questions are, because you need to practice that. All right. How many got all 5?
Answer for number 2.
Okay, let me repeat the all 5, okay? B, C, C, A, B. Do a thumbs up if you got all 5 correct. Or raise your hands. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right? Okay. Now, any questions you want me to do? And this is where last year was really good. They were very honest with me. They're like, hey, you know what? I need help. 2 years back, there was hardly questions asked to us. And we kind of felt bored, honestly. They did really well, but if there is a question, I don't want you to think, oh my God, I don't know what others are going to think about it. I don't care. And you shouldn't care either. So if you want me to help, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be doing the problem on the whiteboard here. Okay? Yeah, which question number?
Number 2.
Number 2.
How do you look at story problems to like take up less time?
Honestly speaking, for story problem, if you rush, you're going to miss out on critical information. I would try to read it only once, maximum 2 times. Sometimes you start thinking about something else, which we call distractors, then you keep reading the same thing again and again. I would actually read it only once carefully and underline one word or one phrase for every word question that changes the meaning of the question. Not all, so many lines that it's meaningless. For example, in this one, at an organic farm, a 2.6 square kilometer plot of soybeans is being harvested. The farm workers can harvest 23 hectares a day. Which of the following functions can be used to estimate how many hectares? And you can see they already have underlined that one. So I don't have to do it in this particular problem. So, and they have given the conversion factors. But I just would read one time. If you tend to go more than 2 times, you really have lost track of focus. Okay? So I'm going to do question number 2. Any other questions?
You need a question number 5.
I expected that one, by the way. I expected question number 5. 2 and 5. 5 is a very, very common PSAT question. Any other questions? All right, when I work on 2 and 5, you guys will work on 6 to 10. Same thing happens, the time, keep track of time. Again in the bubble sheet. Your time starts now. All right. I'm going to stop you guys at 5 minutes. In the chat, I had a really good question. For what grade level the national merit qualifies? You can take it as a ninth grader, you can take it as a 10th grader or 11th grader, but the one that's going to count is only the 11th grade. So the 11th grade October is the score that counts. And I have a story to tell you guys. We had a student had a 34 ACT, one of our employee as well, actually, for a long time. Really smart guy. He's graduating from Wheaton right now. He scored 1450 in 10th grade, 1450, and made the national merit. But that doesn't count. But he took the 11th grade and he got 1430 in 11th grade and missed by one question. That's 10 points. The cutoff was 1440. So he lost the national merit for that reason. So it has happened once where a student in 10th grade has actually scored higher than in 11th grade. I've had students equal scores in 11th and 10th grade, but usually you tend to go up in 11th grade. Some of the reasons you want to be, some of the things you need to be careful if you're taking it in 10th grade and in 11th grade is the geometry section. As you go into 11th grade, you tend to forget geometry, which is a huge portion of PSAT and SAT. So the reasons I've seen students have done well in 10th grade as well, only because their algebra 2 and geometry is fresh in their minds. So 11th grade, you tend to actually start forgetting some of things. So that's why refresher is going to be pretty crucial. All right, let's go to these two problems, and then we can go to the next set. Before I answer question number 2, I actually want to talk about, as a college chemistry professor, one of the things we see quite a bit, freshman students, especially freshman chem and freshman physics, is they don't know basics math. And one of them is called unit balance. So I'm going to teach you the basics of unit balance. So in this question, they're asking how many hectares are remaining, right, after D days, remaining. So the first thing is we need to find out how many we had to begin with. And we had 2.6 square kilometers. But we can't use square kilometers because the unit they want is hectares. And the conversion factor is 1 square kilometer is 100 hectares. So by taking 2.6 times 100, I get the hectares. That's the total to begin with. And every single day, they are doing 23 hectares per day. That's also called a slope. What's a slope? Slope is a rate of change, right? It's a change basically. And that's 23 per day times D will give the total number of days. But the unit is still hectares. So hectare minus hectares will give you hectares. So this is what we call the unit balance. Looks very simple, but people do not do this. And honestly speaking, if you're really good in math with unit balance, you can do 50% or more in PSAT. Almost every answer you can get it right just by doing the unit balance. Because many of the times the units don't balance. And then you know it's wrong right there. Sophie, does this make sense?
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. There are a couple of other ways I want to talk to you guys about how to get to the right answers. So you know that D is the number of days passed, right? So if I put D is equal to 0, that's before you start doing that, I should have 260 hectares, right? So you can also do that in the answer choice. For example, if I put A, D is equal to 0, I get 2.6. So that's wrong. Process of elimination. I put D 0 again for the B option, that's wrong. I put D is equal to 0 for the D one, that's wrong. So I didn't have to even do anything for this problem. I still would have got an answer of C correct, only because of the unit balance, and I know that I have 260 hectares to begin with. Does that make sense? So think about There's no one method to get to an answer. Everybody's different. But if you're having difficulty, use the basics that if I put d is equal to 0, if I put d is equal to 0, so d is equal to 0, I should get 260 hectares. This equation should be constant in all answer choices. So if it's not, then you know it's wrong answer. It's a wrong answer directly to begin with. Make sense? Okay. Let's go to problem number 5. And again, you guys need to ask questions. I just don't want this to be a, we go through the motions. Again, as I said, on October 11th, you'll understand the gravity of the situation when you go to the testing center and if you need to know every question in and out. That one question can make the difference. So the margin of error is extremely low. So when you have a problem like this, and they're asking you to simplify or factorize, you look for what's called the common terms or the like terms. So what I did here was I factorized the first two terms because A and B are common, A and B are common. So if I take A, B as a common factor, you're left with B minus 3. And I did the same thing for these two as well. 2 is common, and you get B minus 3. So the real target for this particular problem is to make sure that you get at least one common term after factorizing. So this and this should be same. If you're not getting these two same, then you know you're not factorized correctly or incomplete. Once you have B minus 3 common, then that becomes the common factor for the next step. You're left with AB plus 2 for the next step. And I can guarantee you're going to be bombarded in PSAT and especially SAT on this type of problem. I cannot stress enough on this. So this is a beginning of Algebra 2, maybe like around chapter 4. So if you want to practice more of these, go Google or go to our Algebra 2 textbook and say factorizing like terms. And you get sheets, worksheets, and you start doing that. Because you need to be very good at this. So this is factorizing like terms. And this is, and even in college, freshman, if you take calc, you may not use it so much, but if you're taking freshman college algebra, the whole semester is going to be this. So, as I taught chemistry in college for 15 years, and students who knew unit balance have ended up being a really good engineer or went to med school. If you don't know this, freshman chem and freshman physics, you're going to have a horrible time. So units, units, and units are going to be the most important thing. All right. Any questions? All right, 6 to 10. I'm going to read the answers. Listen up. D, A, D, B, C. Same routine. Do the thumbs up if you have got all correct. A wrong is a wrong, okay? There's no slight mistake. So we have only one so far. One wrong. How many just got one wrong out of 6 to 10? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. All right. Any questions?
Could you do 7 and 10?
Sure. Again, more you hesitate, I can't help it, okay? So you guys need to be just say, Manoj, do 7 and 10, period. That's my job. Kabir?
8. You do 8 as well.
All right. 7, 8, 10. Now I want to talk a little bit more. Somebody messaged me, can you do problem 9? Sure. Don't hesitate, don't hold back, okay? My job is not to just do a test. See, if you had not asked, I could not have talked about unit balance, right? One thing will lead to 10 different things. Again, I've been doing this for 15 years. I can bring all my experience into this one, okay? And even if you guess it and you get it right, that means it's actually treated should be treated as wrong, because you may have guessed it right this time, but in the real test you'll get it wrong. Okay. I want to talk about a little bit more here about PSAT. The mistakes students do. The first mistake is they don't do the homework. Second, they don't do full practice tests. Okay. You have to understand the margin of error is low. I think this is the sixth time I'm telling you, and I think it'll be 50th time by the time the class is done. Because people take things for granted. Oh, I think I'll be fine. This slight mistake happens. That slight mistake can be very costly in PSAT. Now, have you been writing down the time? Right? I'm assuming you guys are doing the time, because I would like to know how much time you took, because I really need to know that. That's the change from last year. We did this in the second class, but we have made that change, that the desperation of time from the day one. All right. Now, you guys will do 11 to 13, just 3 questions. 11 to 13, 3 questions. Your time starts now. 11 to 13. going to stop at 5 minutes. All right, so let's go through 7, 8, 9. I still have to do 10. So ready? All right, 7 is a classic PSAT, SAT question, what we call P&Ps, plug and play. So line A is given by the equation y is equal to 2x minus 3. Which of the following equations represents a line that intersects the line A in the same plane at point 5 halves and 2? So you have no information about the line, second line, right? Other than the point is they both are intersecting at the point 5 halves and 2. So this information y is equal to 2x minus 3 is a redundant information because it's nothing, because I cannot extract any information from this to the next line because they are not perpendicular, they are not parallel, we have no information. So one thing for sure, the point on a line must satisfy the function. So what I did was I took this point, started with option A, plug for x, plus for y, I got 4 is equal to 4. So this point is satisfying this equation. So this equation is the correct answer. So this is where you have to plug and play. There's nothing else you can do because there is no correlation between line A and line B. Otherwise, if they had more information like slope information, then I could have connected line A to line B. Other than here, so this information is a redundant information. And it happens many times in PSAT and SATs. Not so much in ACT. ACT usually they don't give redundant information. I do not know who asked this question, but does that make sense? Just do a thumbs up if you're good. All right, moving on to question number 8. Typical factorization, quadratic factorization. The first step here is that, so look at the question they're saying, which of the following expressions is equivalent to? So at this particular point, what they're asking is, we have 2 factors minus 18. We want to further simplify it because look at the answer choices. That's what I did. So I FOIL this one, x squared minus 5x plus 2x minus 10 minus 18. Combine these together again, x squared minus 3x minus 28. Then I did the simple quadratic factorization. Negative 7 plus 4 is negative 3. Negative 7 times positive 4 is negative 28. So x minus 7, x plus 4. So here we did FOIL and back to factorization. Remember, FOIL and factorization are opposite operations or processes. So here we did FOIL, then we went back to factorization. I've seen a lot of these. I do not know who asked this, but if again, you can do a thumbs up if you're okay with this. All right. Question number 9 is very important in terms of knowing a formula. Again, if you had not asked me this question, then I would not have exposed you guys to this formula. So look at this shortcut here, by the way. I don't know if people can see it. Online students, can you see this one? Okay, good. So 1 divided by fraction, 1 divided by a divided by b. Quickly you can do b divided by a as a shortcut, okay? And there's another formula I would like you to write it down. Fraction divided by fraction, a divided by b divided by c divided by d. The shortcut is a times d divided by b times c. This shortcut really helps in PSAT. All right. So what I did here was the first step here was I did the least common denominator because there's nothing in the numerator here, but we have fraction minus fraction. So y plus 3 multiply y plus 3 divided by y plus 3. Here times 2y divided by 2y. So the least common denominator is, you know what, I'm going to do this so it's clear for you guys. 2y times y plus 3. So this is my least common denominator. So now you're left with y plus 3 at the top minus 2y, which is 3 minus y. So using this formula, 1 divided by a divided by b is b divided by a. So this goes at the top. I do not know what format they have the answer choice. Okay, they have factorized, foiled this. So it'll be 2y squared plus 6y divided by 3 minus y. So they have gone one more step. I don't know who asked this question. Do a thumbs up if you're okay with that. Okay. All right. I still have to do question number 10, so we'll get to that one. Okay. All right. Let's go to 11 to 13. 11 to 13. B, D, C. And I expect you guys to be bubbling the answers, okay? Because I need you to have that habit. 11, 12, 13, B, D, C. Questions?
Can you do 11?
Thought so. I expected that question. 11 is not tough. You have no calculator, so you make a mathematical error with that 11.
Can you do 13?
Okay, I got the text message as well. 13. Okay. How many got all three correct? 1, 2, 3. Okay, a few people have got it. Now, I'm going to tell you this. If you have guessed it, treat it as wrong. Okay? So I don't want the guess to be the same as, oh, I got it right. No, I assume it's wrong. In my phone here, it's almost 4. You have 3 minutes of stretch break. Okay? 3 minutes. Go. No phones, okay? Just stretch, relax, drink water, whatever it is. 3 minutes.